Yo, what's poppin', all my peeps? Desire host with the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and your champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back in the yard of streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind, presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And you can't be taking no nights off alone here in the Yard Streams. Got to be doing it with the best of the West. You can't forget about Sarah Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello.
What's popping? How we doing on this fine ass Tuesday?
A lot better than last week.
Yeah, you were down for the count, hence the mini hiatus that we have been on.
I had to cancel all my streams because I was supposed to do Patriots ones also, and I just couldn't do it. I'm like, it wasn't even just like, because I've streamed before when I was sick and on this channel, but it wasn't like just I sounded sick or I had a runny nose that was annoying. It was like, no, I was exhausted, I had headaches, like I was coughing, I was just it was everything. It was too much to then be like, yeah, let me go sit in front of a camera for a few hours, you know what I mean? So
I get you 100%. I get in that mood where from work it's like a rundown sick.
Yeah,
like your body's sick. You know, it's not like you have the flu or something that you can just go to a doctor, get an antibiotic. It's like legit rest, which is the worst part because it's just waiting it out. You just have to wait for your body. Like you got to drink the water and then eat like the basic foods of like eggs, toast, that shit. But like it's just waiting until you have some sort of energy to then be like, okay, let me try to get back into reality again. It's one of the worst.
And it's probably gonna keep happening because I caught it from my nephew, because my nephew goes to school.
Yeah, kids are disgusting.
I know. So he brought it home because he got a little bit sick and he still has a pretty bad cough. But it happens every time. Every time he goes to school and there's a kid that's sick and he gets it, he brings it home and I catch it every single time. So so this was the first of that, and I'm hoping that maybe I won't get it next time, but history is not on my side. So
I'm praying it don't, because you're crushing it, over in the Patriots realm, the Patriots verse, getting quoted in Sports Illustrated, just out of the fucking blue.
And I guess I can toot my own horn a little bit, but I've already passed all of 2023's views already.
Clap it up.
Clap
it up.
Yeah. Before September was over, I had already passed all of 2023's views, and I'm on track to do the same in another metric. So I'll complete that in October. So pretty cool. I try to give myself credit when I can because I'm very hard on myself. So
that's good shit. We like to hear it, Sarah. We like to see the work there. Well, having that translate over here, because we're pumping up some numbers. What is it, like 260 something now?
Yeah.
You got it right there.
2062.
Yeah, 2062. All right. We're a little bit under 40 away, 38, I think, from getting 2100, which would be sick. Just another step till we, just do it real time. So all good things are happening, especially good things happening over in the chat with the peeps. The peeps, they missed us, Sarah. David says, what's up? Nathaniel missed you.
Thanks for understanding, guys, about my sick leave, basically.
Sometimes you can't compete. Sometimes you just can't compete.
Yeah.
What's up, Bernard? How we doing? Nathaniel, I did not watch the Vince documentary yet because
I haven't either.
It was a busy weekend for myself. Actually, you were down for the count, worked out because we had to celebrate my dad's pub that he's managed, worked out, whatever, for 50 years. It was the 50th anniversary of Darcy's Pub on Sunday. So we spent the weekend celebrating that. There was a cornhole tournament. It was awesome. But yeah, 50 years in
Crazy.
anything is just an insane number. He started there as a bartender in high school. Like
Mm.
that just tells you the 70s were a completely different time and
Hmm.
era. And then Dicky is saying, raise your hand if PFC are channel chasers.
I'm assuming he means changers.
I'm hoping because that's why I haven't raised my hand yet. Because if
Yeah.
it's chasers and you mean something else, then I want to hear what you mean. But if it is just something as simple as autocorrect, like yeah, I like kind of, but I didn't. I enjoy some aspects of them, but not everything. Like I'm not completely changing the channel, but I just might tune out a bit.
Yeah. No, that's me. That's what I'm doing, unfortunately.
What's Twitter saying? Maybe it's time to go check the tweets.
I'm not seeing a whole lot of positive things, but I mean,
It's like I don't. I
I
mean,
don't actively look either because, like,
we don't have them, so we can yeah. Let's talk about it now. I mean, it's just
yeah,
I don't. I'm not so emotionally invested like I am other things on Raw. Like I when it comes to the PFC, I'm more invested that the Electric Carnival of Kane Carter and Kadana Chance are have returned. They're
mm-hmm,
gonna be in the title picture. Like I'm excited for that.
mm-hmm,
Like I would rather see these three be solo stars. Like I don't want them to go for tag team gold. I
yeah.
want them to be a collective unit that just kicks ass individually, but they have each other's back, like kind of like a biker gang type of
I
thing.
It kind of feels like something where they either proposed the idea themselves, and that is why they're like so gung ho about going about them being a trio, and that's why they're not giving up on it yet. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if it were, I mean, I'm not saying they have to give up, but it feels like if this were something that came from creative and was like, all right, we're going to put you guys together and see if it works, I feel like we would be getting close to the end of this, but they already have new music, like they have all this stuff, so it's like clearly they're trying to make it work. So it's just not hitting, I don't think.
It's not hitting, unfortunately.
You know what
Which
else didn't hit? Jay Uso's title celebration. Just saying. Um we could talk
like
about, let's talk about the good.
that's yeah,
Okay.
that's where I was like, yeah, because there were good aspects of it.
Yes. Well, we
Just
can also criticize it, but I'm
oh, I'm
saying
going to. No, I'm
one
going
of
to, but
one of the best things, which I still think people are blowing it a little bit out of proportion because whatever, but they did update the Intercontinental Championship and added in the blue on like the globes or whatever, similar to the original, the old design
in
that people really
2000s.
loved. Um and people are obsessed with it, which, yeah, it does. It looks very nice. My only reason that I was kind of like, people need to calm down, is like the design is no different. The design before was awesome too.
It's
Like
way
everything is still great about
oh,
it. You
they
just
just threw
added some.
blue on it.
Yeah,
That's
but people
it.
they're like, this title is so clean. I'm like, it's the same title with some more blue. Like, why are we acting like they just unveiled a brand new championship? That's the part where I was very
Like it doesn't
confused.
say yeet across it. It just has blue in it. Like
Yeah, and I would assume it has nothing to do with him being the champion, but it's
it
not. I don't think that
I
people
think
were
it just
looking at it on Gunther's shoulder being like, oh, what would really make this better if they put it with blue. Like, no, it looked awesome before. So I think that is definitely one of the biggest takeaways from him opening
yeah, it
Raw.
was awesome. And the intro where he came out of the crowd, the entrance itself
with
was
his son
awesome
with
with
his
his
son
son. Like it was well deserved, and that aspect of the celebration was awesome. It felt like a celebration.
Mm-hmm.
The only quarrel or mini issue that I had with it was that if he couldn't get the words out, kind of like
Yeah.
similar there. Like it felt that he had something planned that he wanted to say and get across and tie in what happened at the end of the segment to what was eventually going to happen. But I have a feeling that he got lost in the crowd cheering for him and you deserve it and all that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all the talk online, because obviously he sees it, about how he's just a tag team wrestler. We can say it's like, no, you're not, Jay. You're more than that. But no, you're gonna have that because you're in a tag team for
12.
95%
Yeah.
of your career.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm glad we kept weird in a banner because that's just a good way to describe it. It
Well,
wasn't bad. It just was, you knew it was emotional. You were happy for him, and that's one moment.
mm,
But then it has to move on. You know what I mean? It has to move on and progress into something, and it just felt very patchy.
I think, yeah. So was initially asking, like, should we use weird or should we use pointless? And the reason why I brought up pointless is not because he didn't deserve to celebrate, because they didn't really get to after he won on Raw. The
Yeah, because
celebration
it
was
got cut
essentially
short
yeah.
because
And so
USA.
I'm not taking anything away from that. Like, I'm not saying that was pointless. It just felt like he didn't say anything that we haven't already heard. You know what I mean? Since he's been going for singles titles. So that was why it just felt to me like, okay, we didn't learn anything new. He didn't say anything different than what he's been saying. And then the Braun Breaker thing, that was a little confusing because I kind of felt like, okay, cool. Like, they're having Braun come out here and congratulate him, which I'm sure part of that is because, as you said, what the internet was saying, me included, feeling like it just wasn't the right time for Jay to win. I'm sure this was kind of their way of addressing that by having him congratulate him and being like kind of giving him, not that he needs it, but the Braun Breaker rub kind of. Um, and it
Which
felt like maybe it was setting something up for them to continue, but then it also made it seem like, is Braun Breaker going to be a babyface now? Like, what are we doing? Like, this whole thing was so confusing, and that's why I
yeah,
was saying the whole thing was weird. It just, and the reason I say, like I said, like the reason I said pointless was just because I feel like we didn't get anything out of this, because like the people who are not a fan of Jey Uso in general, or not a fan of him being Intercontinental Champion, this didn't change their mind. Braun Breaker coming out and doing that doesn't change their mind. The people who are excited that he's champion and love Jey Uso still do. Like, this segment didn't do anything to further a
yeah.
story or anything. So that was why it was like I toyed with the word pointless. That was the only, in the most respectful way possible.
We stand Jey Uso on the show. Obviously,
Well,
that's not
half
what
of
we're
half
arguing.
half.
Yeah, that's not what I'm getting at. But the point of this segment to me didn't come in the moment or even after the segment was over. It was during Gunther's interview, which
Mhm.
happened later in the show.
Yeah.
Who walks up to him? None other than Braun Breaker. Which this is why I want to use this banner now.
Okay.
Unless
Oh,
you
oh yeah, I forgot that I had them. Sorry.
okay. So Breaker Braun comes out, and I honestly thought we were gonna get, I want a rematch,
Yes, me
like
too.
all that, and I was for it. I would have been a respectful thing to do for Jay, so that he not only gets the solidified win, first defense over Braun, but then it completely clears him out. No, it's not what they did with it.
Mhm.
Braun goes out and says you were the better man that night, and all the good guy things that you say for sportsmanship purposes.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what the okay? And
It's just
what we're saying
confusing.
happened. It was very confusing. However, at the Gunther interview after the whole Sami Zayn bullshit, Breaker walks up to Gunther, and as soon as it happened, I went, "Yup, there it is.
Mhm.
We nailed it." Braun Breaker, like, I had this thought last week, and it's so great when they just answer the questions that you had for it. Answer the questions you had for you. It's really nice when that happens because this is a clear indication that Braun Breaker was Intercontinental Champion to just launch him into the world title picture, and he's going to be in that echelon where that's where he needs to be. Gunther needs a guy like that to
But
fight.
do you think it's a little early? Because this is the thing. The main issue I had with him losing the title was because he was champion for 51 days. Did we really say that having the Intercontinental Championship for 51 days already propelled him into the main event scene to be
No, it
world
did.
heavyweight
Yeah.
champion in 51 days?
I think for now, where on Raw, the title picture is open with the amount of superstars that are tangled up in other feuds, why not tease a Braun Gunther right now? And I mean, who else? Like, have Braun, like, you can have him flirt with that world's heavyweight title because he's the only person realistically that fans could say, oh, maybe he takes down Gunther.
Well, there's also the connection to CM Punk. And a lot of people think that if Punk wins on Saturday at Bad Blood, that he's going to refocus again, as he was trying to do, on Gunther. So I think that is going to be interesting to try and follow, because that felt like what was they were aiming to happen. Obviously, I mean, before they should have, I think, because there was no reason to tease the end of McIntyre and Punk at that point. But that could be something that they're going to go with, or it could be Braun. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they kind of try to play that out, because there's a reason they had Punk say that about Gunther, and there's a reason that they had Braun Breaker approach Gunther. So it's like, all right, maybe they're just trying to see what's going on. But I will say, the one thing that I did like about, well, not the one thing, but one of the things I liked about the Jey Uso thing was that he acknowledged Braun and the fact that people are cheering for him, because that is something that I don't think people are noticing enough when it comes to Braun. Like, they were cheering for him quite a lot, even though he was going up against Jey Uso. And I'm not saying that they would have the same reaction to Braun retaining that they did to Jey Uso winning, obviously.
Different.
However, the barking immediately when he was coming out and like in the match, and the second that Jey said that there was a bunch of dogs in the house or whatever.
Oh, I barked.
Yeah, okay, I did. But
I did when I was like, oh,
but I thought that was pretty cool, because it was still like acknowledging, like, yeah, you might be the young guy, and yeah, I just beat you, but like, I heard them. Like,
yeah,
we heard that you have this support, even if you're supposed to be the guy that, everyone's supposed to hate in this scenario. So I thought that was cool, because you can tell they were trying to push him as a heel. And I do think that Braun Breaker is better as a heel. But people were still loving him. So
he could still be a heel technically and go up against Gunther. I mean, Gunther is just the final boss of heels right now.
I still think Braun, to me, kind of feels similar to like McIntyre, where it kind of depends on the feud or the week how you're supposed to like perceive them. You know what I mean? Like Drew and I think Braun could do this too, is so good at kind of like being in the gray area. And it really is like, okay, people loved him before he started going after CM Punk. You know what I mean? So, but it's like after he's done with CM Punk, no matter how that ends, I wouldn't be surprised if people start cheering for him again. Like immediately, because that's just how it is. It's not something that a lot of people can do. So I think that's something that they could do with Braun, but we'll just have to see how they really go about it.
It's gonna be very interesting to see how they go about it. I was trying to retweet the show, but I can't find it on my timeline. Trying to share the show to the peeps.
Richard said Braun reminds him of a young Lesnar. Yeah, I think
100%. Yes.
Yeah, but more personality.
Way more.
Although Brock had some really funny moments with like the stuff with Angle and stuff like that.
Oh, those O2 segments, SmackDown locker room, they were really good.
Yeah, I think that he could kind of be. I don't want to say this generation's Lesnar, because I feel like that's big shoes to fill, no matter how we feel about him now. But yeah, like even the way he wrestles and everything, like he's just, and we've even compared him in that way. We've said that he's kind of like an more athletic and like agile version of Lesnar.
He does also wrestle like his dad and uncle.
Mm-hmm.
They just The only difference being his explosiveness and speed. The Steiner's had incredible strength, obviously,
Yeah, but
but
he's fast. He's
I've
quick.
never seen. I never saw Scott Steiner or
No.
Rick run the ropes or hit anyone with a spear as hard as Braun Breaker does. So,
Um, Jackson sees Braun
yo,
winning the Rumble,
that's
and
not
so
a
does Richard.
bad. That's
Winning the
not.
Rumble and facing Gunther at Mania.
Yeah, see, though that's a good too early prediction for the Rumble. Like that's where our minds should be.
Richard also thinks that Punk is going to miss a month after Bad Blood and then return to challenge Gunther. So does that mean that he's winning at Bad Blood? I
What
think
is
he's
this?
winning, but I'll
My
save my.
GM mode with the
I'll save.
prediction of missing a month already.
Yeah, I'll save my predictions.
Yeah, we got
But
those tomorrow.
he's saying Richard's saying that rumors are saying that Braun got hurt during a house show and tweaked his back, and so that was why he didn't uh ask for the rematch. And yes, Punk is beating Drew. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Okay, I'm not seeing
I'm
my phone. Not entertaining right now. It's not. There's no
I'm
winning.
trying to get my brain to just accept it. I've already been my sister who shed tears for Drew winning at Mania and then
She
shed
did.
tears for
That's a
being
fact.
cashed in. I've been trying to convince her for the past like month to prepare for Drew to lose. So I'm trying to get her into that mindset already, just because then if he wins, it's like, holy crap, I can't believe it. But if he does lose, then it's like, all right, you already accepted it a week ago. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm trying to do with my brain because I'm too emotionally invested in a lot of these matches
Mm-hmm.
on the Bad Blood card for me to like I can't let that dominate my brain when I'm watching it, you
No,
know?
you can't. You can't. You gotta watch it.
Because I'm already pissed off
Open
about
mind.
Finn losing.
Oh,
So
stop.
I'm already
He's
mad.
not
But
losing.
100%
That's
he's
not what
losing.
he's up to, by the way.
No.
It's not what he's up to. He's
So
not.
I was concerned, not gonna lie, that I thought maybe Finn wasn't going to be on this Go Home Raw because he wasn't last week, which I believe he was just on vacation with his wife, according to his pictures. They were like in Europe and whatever. So I was nervous that he wasn't going to be there on this one as well. And I'm like, all right, that doesn't work well for you having you actually have a match on the PLE. Like you need to be there.
It's really
So
nice.
yeah, when they did the segment with the Judgment Day of Dom on the phone with him, I was like, oh my God, okay, he's not here. But it was, I mean, I was like, all right, whatever, like if that's what it is, because then you hear saying, Finn saying, like, oh, tell Liv, like, I got it working, or the plan is coming in well, whatever. And you see Finn later, obviously he gets involved in the Judgment Day stuff, but it makes you immediately think, okay, because Liv didn't seem to she seems in the know, which we've already thought this for a long
Yeah, it's the
time.
triangle. The
Yes.
triangle.
Yes. And
What's
so
this?
my
What do we?
immediate
What
thought,
is?
and I'm sure most people agree as well, especially the guys, the ones of you that watch the show, I assume this has something to do with Raquel. That's the only thing that I can think of because uh for Liv to need to know that the plan is going well or that he got it secured or whatever, that to me means that he's doing something with Liv's match because he doesn't need Liv to know, oh, by the way, I figured how I'm gonna beat Damien. You know what I mean? Like no one cares because like he could just do
Unless,
it himself. But this match involves Liv, her title. It involves Dominic in a shark cage, and it
which is
involves
awesome.
Rhea. So to me, this felt like okay, semi confirmation that yes, Raquel Rodriguez is going to be involved. That's
Could
like
you
yeah,
imagine if Raquel Rodriguez goes to help Liv, but she helps her by getting Dom out of the shark cage by him jumping into her arms, or like a
mm,
what are they called when you're in the pool? Chicken,
oh
like
chicken, yeah,
yeah, like on his shoulder. I don't. I could see something like that happening for them to show off her strength again.
mm-hmm.
But I would like to see Raquel Rodriguez back,
Yeah,
and if she's
as a
feuding with
heel,
Rhea as a heel, feuding
yes,
with Rhea, because Liv needs to go on her own revenge tour of sorts. with the championship and defend it.
Yeah, because it could almost be like Raquel and Liv kind of become their own version of the Terror Twins. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
so Liv can still be doing her own thing, but still actively involved in whatever Raquel is doing with Rhea. You know, because the Judgment Day connection is gonna be there. But yeah, I agree. I think that this is a good like I don't know, a next chapter in the Liv and Rhea story. And that's why when we've talked about it, it felt like okay, that made the most sense to keep this going at least until the Rumble, because we don't know, they could push it to Mania, but that's so far away that it's like we're okay, the next destination is the Rumble. um but I think people would be interested in seeing Raquel versus Rhea because it is a more equal matchup. And that is something that people have had an issue with Liv and Rhea. And then this also then breaks up that story, also gives Liv an opportunity, as you said, to go and defend a title against other women, which is another thing that people have been complaining about. So it feels like this is the best case scenario. Um, and if this isn't what Finn is up to, then I guess we're just going to have to embrace the suspense and the eventual surprise, because I have no other guess of what it could possibly be.
I don't have anything that would make sense. Let's put it that way. I have
Yeah.
nothing that would logistically make sense for me to put forth and have a standing in. Like Raquel, I saw it. We talked about it. Yeah, it makes sense. So
Yeah.
other than that, like, what am I gonna say? Maybe it is something in the Damian match, and it's like an NXT call up. Like, yeah, that's cool, and would, but like that that's a short term pot. You know what I mean? That doesn't
Well,
enhance anything.
and like Finn's match doesn't have a title, so like the significance of it isn't the same as it is with Liv and Rhea because there's a title involved. And
Yeah,
obviously retaining gold in the Judgment Day is going to be important to
that's top
them.
priority.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's on their shoulder, if it's on somebody else's, like in the group.
Hmm.
So like to me it feels like that's more of gonna be hit Finn's focus, because the cards are obviously more stacked against Liv than him. And I assume that whatever is going on between him and Damien isn't going to end at Bad Blood anyway. Like I don't know how they're going to further it, which disappoints me because I hate the idea of Finn losing, but I think that yeah, this just is the best way to keep the Judgment Day story going, and then adds a new twist to it to make it more interesting for the people who are feeling like it's kind of old, you know.
I do. It is a little old.
Um yeah, certain
It
parts are.
isn't.
So I think Bad Blood is definitely coming at the right time.
Oh,
Jay
this
thinks
they've been building. This was the most appropriate name for a PLE in a while.
yeah, for sure. Jay thinks that Finn should win. I agree, but I don't think it's happening. Um it could mean Demon Finn versus Priest. I hate it though. I don't want to see Demon Finn ever again.
No, if we're gonna, I don't like.
The
All right,
reason
I'll do another version of Finn, but can it be like a Judgment Day version of a demon? You know what I mean? Like, I don't go
yes.
back to the demon, but
Can
make
we
something new out of
call it like
this.
the Prince or something? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like
Like give
let's do the Prince and go full heel like what he did in Japan. That
yeah,
would be cool.
yeah. I don't, as much as I loved the paint and the demon idea,
Oh, it's a
the
great,
reason I
yeah, for
don't
art.
want it to happen is because they buried the shit out of him every single time he was in the paint, except when he won the universal title. Basically every other time he's dressed up like the demon version of himself, he lost or something, and so it just doesn't, the vibe isn't there anymore.
It's
And
not.
he doesn't like it, he doesn't enjoy it either. um so I think it would be more interesting to
Well,
see,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
yeah, I think it would be more interesting to see a new version of that, as Pat said, like how he could kind of make that into something else. um Okay, moving on to the New Day drama continues, but this time we
Yes.
saw, obviously from last week, Xavier Woods was not thrilled with the LWO, and he was talking some ish to Mr. Rey Mysterio, which then led to them having this match on Raw, which Xavier Woods won by getting, I mean, okay, is it dirty tactics? Was it a coincidence? Was it an accident? Was it just taking advantage of the moment? We don't know. But this man fully unmasked Rey Mysterio. I actually was like, oh,
No,
like
I popped. No, I popped. I popped a little bit. I
I
haven't
was
seen it. I haven't seen on WWE programming. You kidding me? That's
I
so
know.
like risque.
I was standing next to my sister who is like the biggest Rey Mysterio fan I know. And I was like, oh my God, his mask is off. His mask is off. She was like, what? And I was like, I had to tell her, like, obviously it's part of the match. It wasn't just like an
No,
accident.
this
You know what I
that
mean?
wasn't a botch. No,
But
this
I
was
was like,
planned.
no, it was fully off. And that instantly earned Woods heat. They were booing him automatically. So he didn't he tried to clarify and say it was an accident. He just took advantage of the
Yeah, to
circumstances.
Kofi, he said it was an accident. Let's
But
clarify that.
do we trust that?
Not a fucking chance.
He's doing
Are you
such a
kidding
great
me?
job, I feel
Are
like,
you
so
kidding
far
me?
to already get under your skin because I'm already like, ew, Woods, like, ew, you know?
When he came out after Ray did, and you hear it's a new day, yes it is. That was the quietest
Mhm.
I've ever heard the crowd
Mhm.
after Biggie's intro, Def Rebel intro.
Yeah.
And the way he walked out too, and obviously we'll get to this match, but the way he walked out for Kofi's match too, like you can tell they are planting the seeds there for the eventual Xavier Woods heel turn.
Mhm.
And uh, if this happens, I want you to acknowledge me, Sarah, as your
Why? Why
champion
do
of the
I need
peeps.
to acknowledge
No,
you?
no, no, or you don't have, but the peeps
Okay,
do.
I was like, what did I do?
You're on my side anyways. We acknowledge each other. I'm saying the peeps need to
Oh.
acknowledge me that if only acknowledge me if Xavier Woods turns on Kofi at the 10th anniversary of the New Day.
Hmm.
That
Well,
would be some red wedding Game of Thrones reference for any of
when
those
is
peeps.
that?
And it's soon.
Okay.
That's why the thought came out, because it is
Yeah.
they are approaching it. And that leads to my bigger idea of letting this just slow burn and having them have a one-on-one match at WrestleMania.
You know what could happen too?
Like,
So the other
come
thing that
on.
we learned was that Jey Uso apparently said, "Hey Kofi, I want to give you an intercontinental title shot next
And
week." And he
Woods was
said,
pissed.
"I went and told him that, that's great and that's awesome, blah blah blah, but I said I think you deserve it." So Xavier Woods is going to be facing Jey Uso next week on the first 2-hour episode of Raw next week. And obviously he's going to lose, right? Obviously. I'm guessing the way they further this is maybe the following week or whenever Kofi gets his match, Xavier makes sure he loses because he lost. So he cannot have Kofi win and get the title that he got to go for first, and he couldn't win. To me, it feels like, okay, that's another step of being like, no, because the way that they're going about this, we kind of talked about it last week, is like so much better than I think what they were
Any
originally
of us,
going
yeah.
for. And so this whole idea of not being good enough or being overlooked or whatever is a one of the oldest stories in the book of
Oldest.
wrestling. And I think that's the right way to go with the Xavier Woods thing, because he is the odd man out of the trio. He's never won the singles title. He's never been the WWE champion the way Biggie and Kofi have. So him taking it personally, that he lost to Jay, and then he sees Kofi get a chance and he's this close to beating him, like he's going to want to stop that. And I feel like that's a great way to get people invested, because like they're not going to want to see Jay lose. They're not going to also want to necessarily see Kofi lose, but they definitely don't want to see him lose because his friend made sure he lost. You know what I mean? So it's very easy to like get people invested in that if they go about it that way. I don't know. That's just
No, it
a
is. It's
thought.
you're 1,000% right, and going along with the Jey Uso title reign too. Those are two title defenses
Mm-hmm.
that he can just check right off,
Mm-hmm.
which will legitimize his reign to the point where you can start thinking, okay, he already beat two people. He can lose to this person. Or, okay, it may be a little bit of a hot potato for a bit, but at least there's some sort of feud going on where it's a fight between them and they're not just passing it around for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of you have to think like that in this era because as we saw last night, a lot like they connect stories. Like they do not shy away from the long term story element of it now. So you have to really pay attention to it.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. A lot more interesting than I think I was expecting. Um uh no one wait, who was saying that Big E Big E might be coming back. I think this is not leading to a heel. I don't think at Big E it is not gonna we're not gonna know if he can come back for a few more months.
Yeah, he gets was it tri-monthly,
Yeah.
like every 3 months or something like that.
Richard Richard's still there with that possibility of Kofi turning.
Wow,
I'm telling you, I'm not saying that that's inevitably what's going to happen. Obviously, it's looking more like
jeez.
it's going to be Xavier, but I wouldn't throw out the
He's
possibility.
wearing black. He's wearing
I would.
all black. It's
But
legit.
how hilarious would it be if we think this or they're trying to sell it that it's going to be Xavier, but no, it's Kofi getting fed up with Xavier's BS. It would be such a swerve that no one would be expecting. So that's why it's kind of like,
Like a swerve when you drive the.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so because this was the go home show to Bad Blood, of course we were going to see a little bit more between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, and they actually met surrounded by a ton of extra security inside a hell in a cell, and they had a bit of another episode, I would say, of a war of words. And I think that they both did fairly well. But what I would say, I want to have our own conversation about this because I saw that Dave LaGreca and Bully Ray had a conversation about this feud on Busted Open, and they were talking about who do you think won the War of Words during this feud, because most people are going to automatically say CM Punk because CM Punk obviously is known for his pipe bombs and his promo skills and everything. But I agree with Dave, who said he thinks it was Drew, and he said it's not even just I'm not saying it because I'm not a CM Punk fan, but he was saying he feels like Punk brought out the best in Drew. And like the way that Drew has this run, we've talked about it numerous times about this past like year run that Drew has been on has been incredible. Has like skyrocketed him
It made him a
into
Hall of Famer. I'll tell
it,
you right now, this run has enhanced his legitimacy at being a WWE Hall of Famer one day,
well,
hands down.
and he this is I think a big reason why he was even offered such a lucrative extension, which he got, to the point of The Rock clamoring for it to be done. So obviously people are recognizing like how much he's doing, and the trolling online, like everything is going beyond just what he's doing on TV. And so Dave was just saying like he feels like this couldn't have come at a better time, basically. Like him
Yeah,
in this feud with Punk has elevated Drew so much, and that the way that he has been speaking with these promos and whatever he's been doing, whether it's back and forth with Punk or whatever, has been some of the best work of his career. And that doesn't mean that Punk hasn't been great, because he has had some moments where they were great, but you expect that kind of stuff out of Punk. In fact, I would say that most people were saying the opposite, feeling like they were a little bit underwhelmed by some of the promos and stuff that Punk had, just because you constantly compare it to his history. So for
yeah.
me, I'm gonna say Drew won the War of Words, but I was curious what you thought.
Hey, I want to say Punk because that's where my heart is, and that's one of my guys. But Drew has came out the better superstar in this because of what you alluded to. You got the Punk drag the best out of Drew. We saw a side of Drew that I have never seen in WWE. And his character went from being what it was on screen, excuse me, to being a whole social media account. You know, with
Mhm.
the stuff that he's posted on social media because of Punk, like it's crazy what an obsession can do to somebody's character in wrestling and
Mhm.
how many different directions they can go with it. This has been something that you could have ended the first time or the second time. I mean, you know, with the ballroom, like, oh, they both go. No, like, and you could have squashed it like before Mania, but because of the injury to
Mhm.
Punk, like, look at the little things that had to happen for it to reach this boiling point. You know,
Mm.
it's had everything you could have asked for in a perfect blood feud, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to culminate in is blood, a lot of it inside a cell, which is exactly what the fans want. I'm
Mhm.
done hearing the words. Yeah, Drew won. Cool. Like Punk did his job by just being that underdog to Drew and just being that thorn in his side. They did their jobs fine.
Yeah.
Now just friggin' have the match. I
Yeah.
want to see Carnage and Sarah, you know what? I want to see it in the goddamn main event
Yeah. I know. We're gonna talk about that
tomorrow.
tomorrow for
That's a
sure.
tomorrow topic because
Yeah. I'm
that's
gonna
all I
be
gotta say about this right now because I want to
Mhm.
save all that energia
Yeah.
para mañana. So
Yeah. We'll have to do that tomorrow for sure. Um and I didn't mean just on Raw. I was just talking about in general throughout the
oh,
entire
war
feud.
of words is everything, not just promos. I
Yeah,
like
I yeah,
social
I'm talking
media. Like
yeah, I'm
you
talking
got
about
a picture
since
with goddamn Jack Perry. That is the
yeah.
greatest. That is so next level. No, I couldn't. Oh, think of the circumstances that had to happen for that picture to be so viral.
Yeah. I know. I
Oh, that's why
and that's
wrestling's the best. That's why
and
it's
I
the
think
best.
the chat is misunderstanding. I was just talking about the entire feud, like stemming from
Yeah, not last night.
the
Last night
Royal
was
Rumble.
just like the closing arguments
Yeah, I
essentially
just
in a
meant like
case.
as their work as a
No,
whole over the past like
it's
8
been
months.
incredible.
Yeah.
Both sides, but if anyone has the slighter edge, it is the Scott.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see more of the like Scottish psychopath version of him. You
We're
know
gonna
what I mean?
see
Because they're like, oh, he's a Scottish
psychopathic
warrior, and it's
shit.
like that's a great name, but like, let's
We're
see the
gonna
Scottish psychopath. That's what I
we're
want
gonna
to see.
see the Scottish psychopath on Saturday.
I
Don't you
sure hope so.
worry. Don't
And
you
it's
freaking
and
worry.
it's at 6 p.m. Eastern too. So
Great time.
you'll be home.
Great
It's
time.
such a weird time for me. It's 3 p.m. I was like, oh, I'm at, like I'm always automatically go to 4 p.m.
Yeah,
or four
SRS
or five.
tweeted. He was saying, "Isn't it? Did anyone else find it weird that we weren't getting a midday pay per view on Saturday?"
I know.
And it's like, yeah,
It's because
it is kind of
it's
weird.
because it's in the U.S. this time. So,
Oh, it's nice when you
um,
have domestic pay per views.
yeah. So moving on to the Judgment Day, who had a match with the LWO because of course they did, and the match was fine. You know, it's the Judgment Day are basically feeling like they're becoming the new Legado del Fantasma going against the
Oh my god, it's all
LWO.
they just it's anyone who's entangled with them.
Yeah,
It's so bad. So
they're like the
bad.
Chris Jericho. No, I'm just joking.
Oh my
The entire LWO is like the Chris Jericho of WWE. Um. Anyway, um.
eyeball up
So the
and
main
down.
thing was, of course, the Terror Twins come out at the end, starting with Rhea, who brought out the Shark Tank to show us what Dom will be in. And Damien sneaks up on them as well. They brawl, they do their thing. Finn talks some ish, and they stand tall over Damien at the end because Rhea was off chasing, Liv and whatever. So this is a big reason why I'm saying that Finn is losing. It's not just because there's really no other reason. I think that because they stood tall, if we're gonna look at history, then whoever stands tall is the one who loses. So I mean, I'm sure in a way they're probably gonna try to break that. I mean, if Triple H really is paying attention to social media as much as we believe he is,
Oh, he
then I think he should be trying to go against this because it feels like an automatic spoiler. You know what I mean? It's like we already know.
that
But
man is
yeah,
so online. It's
yeah.
unbelievable.
So I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say about this other than I really am just ready for Bad Blood. And I'm ready to see the continuation of the Judgment Day storyline, but with like new people and like new stuff to do rather than it just being like the same thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm still
Yeah,
invested
exactly.
in what the Judgment Day are doing, but we need like a new character in the mix. You know what I mean?
We need a new face. We need a new
Yeah.
face in the mix. I
Which
could agree
can
with
work if
that.
it's Raquel.
That's a face that I would like to see.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Alrighty. Then we move on to Chad Gable. So we already kind of talked about this earlier, but Chad Gable versus Kofi
I want
Kingston.
to talk about the finish. I'll let you
Yeah.
talk about. I want to say something about the finish.
So after Xavier got his win, he came out with Kofi, even though Kofi didn't go out with Xavier. So that was interesting.
Xavier said no, he's a QB.
I know.
He's a QB.
So Kofi was going to take on Chad Gable because, you know, he's given them attitude and whatever. And I'm telling you, bro, they were in the middle of the ring and they were like, America. And I'm like, I told you these are we the people. They are 2 steps away from being we the people. Why are you in the middle of the ring being like, America? That's what I'm like.
America. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. I love America. American. That's like what it feels like to me.
It's just Team Angle, but like Walmart. Like it's
yeah.
it's the singlets are it's Kurt Angle 06 SVR. That's the attire.
I think I'm just like, yeah, I don't mind the American made stable. Like I'm here for it. I mean, we wanted to see this. I just think
necessary.
I'm just confused about what it is. I think that's what it is. Like, are we celebrating Chad Gable being an Olympian? He represented America. Are we like we love America? Like, what are we doing? I'm just
American
confused.
athletes that like that's a to
It's
me
just,
it just seems like a group for talented
Americans
in the ring. But
talented Americans.
it's talented Americans. I just don't know how else to put it. Like, and I didn't. It may just been because I wasn't paying attention all that closely, but the last week. But I finally heard the Brutus laugh, and it sucks.
It's cringe.
It was not like those guys could
hard.
be so lovable, but the problem is that they are legit ass kickers in this role now, and I can't get over that they just look like Team Angle. So I just don't. It's whatever to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It was
yeah, because Ivy Nile should be getting all the fans that she needs. All right, Ivy Nile should be not crushing it, but at least in the mix in the women's division.
But the thing is live up to the heat. You cannot.
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
can't get.
Remember when Damage Control was coming out and Kyrie was still new and she was like high-fiving the people and I don't remember who was like Asuka or whatever, like grabbed her and was like, stop, because she was like high-fiving fans and it's like, you can't do that because you're supposed to be hateful.
No, you can't be high-fiving the people you want to boo you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I thought it was just cute because it's like, oh, she's just excited. But
she's happy to be back, but still.
But anyway, so the main point of this, other than the fact that Chad Gable won, was how he won, and that is what you wanted to talk about.
Oh my god!
In
Sara.
the long term, furthers the implosion of the New Day.
It was so well done because I think I said it out loud at the time when after I almost said Team America. American Made got taken out and they get thrown in the ring, whatever. And Gable goes up against the ropes. Woods holds the legs. Little does he know, Kofi knew this was going to happen. It was in the process of hitting him with a Trouble in Paradise, but his interference screwed that up and ended up costing him the match. And when I say this was such a brilliant way to have Xavier cost him the match, without trying to do so
Mhm.
in a way where it's not like hit over the head that he's trying to do that.
Well, kinda like on SmackDown,
Yeah, like
because Cody
it's
wasn't trying to do that, but
no, and then he was like it was
Mhm.
kind of over the face, slap across the face, where this was a little bit more subtle. And that's just another element to this that like Xavier just trying to help, but he can't. Like
I
he's getting the like it's so there's so many layers to it that you keep digging. You
Well,
just
and I
don't
think
mind
that's
digging.
why it's fair to say that it could be Kofi that turns because Kofi the argument could be made that Kofi is getting sick of the shenanigans. He's getting sick of having to appease Woods and like he's so emotional and this and that. Like I don't know. There's an argument. I think there's definitely a stronger argument, obviously, that it's going to be Woods. Um, and I think that he could be a solid heel. I'm not saying Kofi couldn't, but I do think that like people love Kofi a lot, so it would be probably a little bit more difficult for them to boo him. But
Mhm.
I think yeah, it's they're doing a really good job going about this so far. I mean, the fact that we're sitting here and debating like, okay, what was this? Was this intentional? Who's going to be the one to turn? And what are they going to, like that means that they're doing a good job because we're actually invested enough to debate what is coming. So
I'm telling you, when this story happened, everyone wasn't too keen on it. It was like, oh,
Mhm.
you're gonna break up the New Day? Not this champ. I was
Yeah.
bought it from the start. I love it. And Karrion Cross, oh,
I know we're gonna
he
talk
is
about
the
it.
necessary evil.
I just want everybody to, you know what? I saw people talking about Cross because they posted a video of him, like a promo or whatever that he did that wasn't on Raw.
Mhm.
And people are like, "Oh my god, he's so good." And whatever.
I
And I'm
did
like
watch that. That was
and I'm
actually
like,
incredible.
I know, but like where have you guys been? We have been campaigning for Karrion Cross basically since he returned.
He's so
Um,
good.
and he's only gotten better because we said that this fits him. But I just thought it was funny because I'm like, guys, where have you been? We've been saying this for so long. Like, just listen to what we tell you. That we're telling you who to be a fan of or who to appreciate for their underrated skills.
Yeah.
And Karrion Cross is one of them. So welcome aboard.
Well,
Moving on. So Sami Zayn spoke to Kathy Kelly
it
or
was Kathy
Jackie?
Kelly.
Okay. I don't
No, I don't think
remember.
so.
I
I
don't remember.
forget.
He spoke to a backstage correspondent because I can't remember who it was, and was just fueling that fire to Gunther, trying to convince him that he deserves to get a world heavyweight title match, and was trying to twist it, of course, into Gunther being scared. So later, when Gunther came out to talk and do whatever, he was obviously interrupted by Sammy, who continued to do his reverse psychology, but he eventually took it too far. He took it
He
too far
did.
because he talked about Gunther's dad.
Can't do it.
And you know what? Gunther said, "You do not do that. You do
Nope.
not do that." And but I think the ends justify the means in this situation for Sammy because what did he want? He wanted a world heavyweight title match. And what did he get? A world heavyweight title match next week on Raw. It will not be on Bad Blood, which is a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. Um so now it's official. We're officially going to see Sami Zayn versus Gunther for the world heavyweight title on Raw. Are we excited about it?
Yes. I'm very excited about it. I was a little shocked that it wasn't on the Bad Blood card, but
It fits it so much more than Nia and
it
Bayley.
does. It does fit it a lot more than
Or
Nia
even Finn
Bailey,
and
but
Damien could have been one that was like waited.
yeah,
You
you
know what I
could have.
mean?
But you have to think from a business perspective that you need to make Raw feel important. And the
No,
way
I
to do that is to have world heavyweight title matches
well, and
because you're not going to have it.
they're competing against the NFL right now too, which is
So
hitting
yeah,
viewership.
it,
So
it absolutely is hitting viewership. You are silly if you don't think so.
yeah.
And with the Netflix deal looming, you need to make these shows feel important for
Hmm.
that fan that is going to come over to Netflix and maybe they don't have Netflix right now and they're stealing somebody else's well they're going to get a subscription
Hmm.
because they can watch Raw and they can watch WWE.
Hmm.
You in the way they do it, you have Gunther defend it because you're not going to see a lot of championship defenses on SmackDown with Cody
Well,
Rhodes. So why
and
not?
that's an argument I feel like because I commented on I don't remember whose it was. Someone's tweet about Like, how do we feel about, um, the match being on Raw and not at Bad Blood or whatever? And I just said, like, it's fine. I just wish that Gunther could have been at the PLE. And I got a lot of pushback from the people who were responding, being like, no, like the titles need to be able to be defended anywhere. And like that should be on Raw, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I get it. Like, I'm not arguing against it because obviously, if you grew up during, I mean, I'm speaking from my experience. I can't speak about the 90s and whatever, but during the Attitude Era, championships were defended every single week on Raw and or SmackDown. So it wasn't something that they waited for the PLE. That became a Vince mindset later on in like the 2000s and the 2010s, that you
Yeah.
saved that for the PLE. So like, I'm not saying that I can't see it unless it's on a PLE. But I do think that if we are, they need to be careful about like what champions or what championships they protect, because you're putting more emphasis on that being a more important championship when you're not having it defended on the weekly shows, but you're having the other ones be defended. So like, I don't think it can be a thing that Cody never defends it on SmackDown. Like, obviously we saw it when they
Yeah.
moved to USA. He had the match against Solo Sikoa. That was the only reason why he defended the title on SmackDown. But I don't think that should be the only time it happens, because if you're then going to be on your other show having the World Heavyweight Champion defending it on Raw, to me, in my eyes, it makes it seem like, oh, Cody's title is more important. That is like the title. We don't really care about the World Heavyweight title. Like, it doesn't need to be reserved for just PLEs. So I think there's kind of like a line that they need to figure out. Like, are we going to be restricting it to just PLEs? Or if we are going to be exploring the options of having titles defended on Raw and SmackDown, then we need to do it for all of them. It can't be just, oh, Cody or whoever is the champion on SmackDown, he can't do it, or this title can't. Like, we can't, that shouldn't be a thing, you know.
It shouldn't.
And because they defend the other titles, Intercontinentals on Raw, US has been on SmackDown. The tag titles have been on Raw and SmackDown. So I think it needs to just be a universal thing, you know.
They do. He makes the shows feel important. One of the most historic WWE Championship wins of all time happened on an episode of Raw. Just remember that.
Final Boss agrees. Yeah, I think, and
Thanks,
they're
Dwayne.
it's the only title that they're protecting, it seems, right now. It's the only one. And it's like, if it were Roman Reigns, I would understand, because they had the champion. I mean, he had the championship for like 4 years.
So yeah,
you know.
that's different.
But and I get that Cody winning it was a huge deal. It wasn't just that he defeated Roman Reigns. It was his first title run or whatever. And it's like, yeah, he's the face of the company, or at least one of them, and he's the guy on SmackDown right next to Roman. So yeah, you want to reserve that guy and his title defenses for shows that you want people to pay for, but you're also doing a disservice to the other. You're supposed to be treating that championship as equal, or whatever, to the World Heavyweight. And if you're not treating them the same, then it feels like, yeah, they still don't care about the World Heavyweight. So I think that's an issue, and maybe I'm looking too much into it, but
you're onto something at least.
Anyway, so The Miz, who has been hanging out a lot with Karrion Kross over the past month, he was met backstage by R-Truth, who has finally come back after being beaten down by Mr. Bronson Reed. And he let Miz know that the Awesome Truth were getting back together and they were going to be taking on AOP. And so they had a match against AOP. And Miz was not too thrilled about it, because he knew who he was talking about, obviously, and they were not authors of books. So we did see the reunion between The Miz and R-Truth, but it didn't last very long, because The Miz, we have to wait for an explanation, because we have not gotten one, but he turned on R-Truth and appears to have gone back to The Miz that we all know and hate, and that is heel Miz. And Karrion Kross seemed to very much enjoy this. So
I enjoyed it too.
I am excited because, one, I think The Miz as a heel is a million times better than him as a babyface.
So entertaining. I love heel Miz. Heel Miz is awesome.
I also love the possible pairing of the Miz with the Final Testament or whatever is going to be coming.
Like an ally.
Yeah,
You
but
know, like an ally.
I'm interested, and I think that this is a potentially good. This could be the most beneficial to Carrion specifically. And so I'm hoping that this develops into something good because I'm intrigued of this allyship. But yeah, anything that we can see Karrion Kross more on TV or at least on the mic, please. I'm into it. So I want to. I'm excited.
Yeah, I have yield to redundancy because I agree with everything you just said.
And I think people need to you don't have to be a fan of Carrion, but I think you guys should like pay
Just put
attention to kind of
respect
the
on
stuff
his
that he's doing.
name.
Yeah, like I get
Man's
it. You
doing
don't,
such great
I'm not
work.
telling you to like um buy his t-shirt or something, but
No, but just acknowledge him as a
yeah.
fantastic heel who's causing evil, or let me phrase that, who is causing dark chaos over on
Mhm.
Raw and just infiltrating the locker room with intrusive thoughts. That's literally what he's doing. He's just playing a psychological game with the
Yeah.
entire locker room. It's so entertaining to watch unfold.
I know. I want to see like who his next victim's gonna be. You
Like
know
the
what I mean?
Miz, really? You went for the Miz? Like,
I know.
where can we go?
You're the Miz. Sorry. I just can't like not think about Strowman being like that. I'm just like, oh my god, you're so cringe. Why would I say that? You're the Miz. I'm like, do you hear yourself? Like his name is Mike. Can you just like stop?
His name is Mike.
It's not the Miz. Anyway,
This was
so
fucking awesome.
the main event, we finally got to see the last monster standing. And I think everything that we talked about that we wanted to see in this match happened. They were all over the place, using weapons, doing all sorts of splashes and
They were
whatever.
doing big man shit. Like that's what they were doing.
Meaty shit.
Meaty men shit. That's what
Yeah.
they were doing. They were breaking barriers. They were taking out the crowd, which guys, those are some actors. Okay.
Big meaty man slapping meat.
Thank you. That felt very necessary during this time.
Yeah.
That was, and then you had the goddamn ring break as well. I am gonna be a little bit of a stickler. I thought that Bronson Reed should have went from the tippity top, the third rope, but beggars can't be choosers. I'm just happy the ring broke. And this was perfect. Like the whole match itself was exactly what it should have been. Just a car wreck in front of your eyes. The way they went around the ring, around the arena. Yeah, they didn't go backstage, but they did that already before. I think my favorite part, honestly, or more underrated favorite, was when after he takes out the crowd and you have Pierce, the producers, the security come down, and Bronson just hitting tsunamis like it's nobody's business.
Yeah.
But where's Chad Patton? So Bronson gets furious and fed up. He just grabs Chad Patton and yeets him over to the ring. Adam Pierce grabs Bronson. He's like, you cannot grab officials.
It's like, but
Bronson's
you
had
just
nothing.
Well, I mean, come on, Adam. You're the GM. Why are you having the referee just stand there and watch? Like, he has a job to do.
And then Bronson Reed has this look in his eye that I never want to witness in person and grabs Adam Pierce by the collar, which I was like, hell yeah, let's go. Get more time for Braun to get up. And like the whole match was so entertaining. It was a great main event. That's what a TV main event should be. It doesn't need that much destruction, but the chaos at the end of it with, a crazy end to it. And obviously with a returning man that they tease throughout the show returns and helps in the closing shot. Like,
I am
it's awesome.
So this is the thing. I was really wanting Bronson to win, and I was a little disappointed that he didn't. However, just because of the run he's been on, so I was like, he should win, right? But the fact that we're now probably going to get a Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed feud, I'm here for it. Like, that is elevating Bronson to borderline, if not fully, main event status. I mean, he's going against one of the top guys in the company. in Seth Rollins. So it's like, it's hard for me to be mad about him losing this if this is what's coming next, you know? So I'm excited about that. But yeah,
That's
it
gonna
was,
be a really interesting. I would like to see where that goes too.
yeah.
Like, how long will they spread that out for?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same. And then although we talked about everything uh with Raw, there's two more things that we want to talk about. One
Yes.
is I think people are finally ready to admit that Joe Tessitore was a great hire, and because there were so many people that were iffy about him, but I'm like, guys, it's literally his first and second week. What are we doing? Um, but as we said, he was going to get more comfortable. I mean, we're getting to the point of him holding signs about seeing Yeet. I mean, come on. Like, he's almost 100% fully there.
Yeah.
Um, and him being partnered with Wade, I don't know how they decided that Wade was going to be his counterpart. I don't know if they did tests to see if they, and you know, who he had
Yeah,
natural
like
chemistry
the
with, or
chemistry. Yeah,
yeah,
I could
or
see
if it
that.
was just like, no, we're keeping Graves with Cole, whatever. I love them together. Like, it's a different pairing than you know, like, I love Wade on commentary in general, but I like their dynamic. I think that even Tessitore works really well off of
Mhm.
what Wade is doing. So I'm obsessed, and I really hope that they don't make like these big changes whenever McAfee comes back. Like we were talking about, like McAfee needs to go to SmackDown now.
Yeah, you
You
need to keep
cannot have,
McAfee with Cole. Like, you
yeah, you
can't
can't
talk
replace
about not
what's going on.
splitting. Talk
Mhm.
about not splitting up people.
Yeah,
No, Wade and Joe don't split up Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. So there you
yeah,
go. It,
yeah.
the best part about Tessitore is that it feels like this is what they envisioned Mike Adamle to be when that happened and when that hire was a thing.
Hmm.
That's what they wanted, to break that barrier between sports entertainment and professional sports. Bringing a guy in like Tessitore, who has that Big Four sport experience,
Hmm.
commentating, but then also is a fan, was a fan, whatever, and can then immerse himself into it. You know, like
Hmm.
just some of the calls that he has, the back and forth with Wade about Dirty Dom,
Hmm.
how Joe Testor is legit by the books, play by play, the announcer, and is saying Dirty Dom's all this, and Wade's like, what are you talking about? He's king of the world. He's got this
I
girl, like, and then he's like, how can you say that? No one thinks he's handsome. Like, and it's
That is
that
my
back and
favorite
forth, you can't
stuff.
teach, like, you
Yeah.
have to just, that has to flow.
Hmm.
And it's so, it's such a great, balance.
Yeah.
Oh, it's incredible. And
It's,
the even just Joe Tessitore making the comment about Shawn Michaels should hire her when they were doing the sign reading.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
Joe Tessitore's online.
Well, even Wade was like, "Hey, that's a sign for me. Like, go back." Like,
Yeah,
it's like,
it's like,
it's so
oh,
fun.
that's what, like, oh,
Yeah,
it's
I
been
think if
great.
you were somebody who was like just tuning in for the first time, you would have no idea that these guys have only been appearing for a month, you know? So,
You have no idea.
um, I'm glad that people started to be a little bit more patient with him, because obviously, like, you're not going to get gold in one day.
Uh-huh.
Um, but he has such a good background. I mean,
That's some high praise. That's some high
yeah, I mean,
praise.
people
It's high
loved
praise.
Morrow,
I
so
he
I prefer
made
I
he made
prefer
NXT what he
Joe's
wanted.
commentary to Morrow, honestly. But I think Morrow is like he's his
That was
own
the
guy.
first.
You know
No,
what I mean?
that's he did his thing. Like, you can't replicate that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mamma mia! Oh,
And then the other thing I just wanted to touch on is devastating news to the people who like the non-Americans, aka me. They announced during Raw that Ilya Dragunov tore his ACL over the weekend in a match against Gunther. First of all, why are you having a house show match like Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov?
that's treating the traditionalists. That's treating the purists. I know what
It's
you
just,
mean, but I get why.
ugh. But anyway, the this is just so disappointing because they were just starting to put him back on TV and look like they were going to actually have him in some sort of feud with members of the Judgment Day. And so I'm really bummed about the timing. But also, what is going on with the rise of torn ACLs in wrestling?
I know that's Sonya Deville, Dakota Kai,
Cora
Uh,
Jade,
Corey
Nikita
Jade
Lyons.
and
It's
Nikita
like,
Lyons on her second. So was Corey Jade.
yeah, and it's just like, what? Tegan Knox tearing both of them. Like,
Yeah,
it's just crazy. This is not.
timetable was
It's not really something. Yeah, so they're saying 6 to 9 months. So he's
nice.
definitely missing Mania, which really sucks.
I I saw this online. If there was anyone to do a Cena '08,
I guess.
it
Yeah.
would be that man who does the most insane workouts I've ever seen in my entire
I
life.
know, but there are people who thought that was going to happen with Charlotte too, and Charlotte's still not. And it's been like 9 months now. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll see. I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm just banking on him being gone because I don't want to get excited about potentially being there, but just really sucky because he gets called up and he's on Raw like every week, and then he kind of goes missing, and now they're actually looking like they were giving him a storyline, and then he's just being a good sport and showing up to the live event on the weekend and tears his ACL. It's like, god damn.
So sad.
And Gunther trolling him about it. Oh my god. He's like, only the week break or whatever. I was like, I just can't, like, him.
He's
And then
so good.
that
He's
video that you
that's
posted yesterday of Anchorman and Jack Black kicking the dog over the bridge.
oh my god,
I
that
died.
was so like that's what I'm saying. Of course, Drew won the war of words. Like everything Punk has said, Drew has a response that is just out of this world, hilarious
It's
or
so
spot
good.
on.
It's so good.
Oh,
Jay, Asuka's injured. She had knee surgery.
correct. So
So
she will not.
she's gonna be gone for a
They
little bit.
probably did extend it or gave her injury time or something. Like that's not a
Tony Khan.
contract you need.
Like Tony
Yeah, it's the
Khan and
reason
Ray
why we
Phoenix.
fucking don't have Rey Phoenix or the Lucha Brothers in
Mhm.
WWE yet.
Yeah.
I'm very upset about that. I
Mhm.
want to see Cero, Miedo.
It happened eventually, obviously, but it's a little bit longer. But
Imagine
anyway,
if Ring of Honor did
that was Raw.
That was Raw. And we thank you for tuning in to this edition of the Raw Rewind. We're not going to be back on Thursday. We're going to be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. It is a
It's gonna be
wonky.
a super show.
It is going to be your super show. I just had a flashback to 2012 when
Yeah,
you
it's
said
gonna be
show.
a super show. It's gonna be the Thursday
A
show.
Raw and
plus
SmackDown super show.
Bad Blood predictions. But because we can't record on Saturday,
And
we
we've
need
been
to pack
backed up. We're going to be packing it. I already thought of a couple things that aren't really storylines that are going on kayfabe or in reality, but just topics that are going on in the wrestling world that I think Sarah and I should give our opinion on. You guys should hear our opinion on because there's a lot going on. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. I tell all my peeps in my vortex that it is a great time to be a wrestling fan.
WO Vortex or the Jericho Vortex?
No, the Patty Pitts vortex.
Oh, okay.
That's one that I can't even escape. It's really tough. It's very tough out here. But yeah, I mean, it's the WWE's getting incorporated with NFL. We saw college football already. I mean, pop culture references. Come on. If you know a friend or anybody who just needs something entertaining in their life, all right, bring them over to the Wrestleverse. Especially bring them over to the show. Tell them to subscribe like you should. Subscribe, hit that bell notification as well to know every time we go live and post. Sarah, I had this thought. I'm over GM mode at the moment. That shit is so hard. What? Are you looking at spoilers?
I just saw a spoiler. Sorry.
Match or belts?
Both.
Oh, sorry. I'm literally going to make food after this and starting NXT from the beginning because I love. No, you're good. That didn't spoil anything, but just don't tell me. You're good.
I'm not. I won't.
No, I'm going to start over from the beginning because of the power of YouTube TV, baby. That's what we do. So yeah, go watch NXT and tune in tomorrow because we're probably going to be talking about it in some capacity. It is the first episode on the CW network. There'll definitely be a topic of conversation, and Dynamite's tomorrow. So I'll definitely have thoughts on what that is going to be, especially with Okada Danielson 2, and then Ricochet Ospreay for the umpteenth time, but first time on American programming. So thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. And remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. We will see you tomorrow, mañana. Peace out. No, go wait. Yes, you gotta go that.